there's a lot. Well, there's a lot of misconceptions about like the death card or cards that symbolise bad things that are happening, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, what does the death card mean, as it were, but or do you have to see it? Like, do you get a visualisation of what that card means?
It can mean a lot of different things. Yes, your intuition is going to inform a lot of that. It very rarely means death. The majority of the time, it's death, as in symbolic death. You know, a change of circumstances in the physical plane. So it can be a house move. It can be maybe a splitting up of a relationship. It can be death of a pattern. You know, if you're looking at your emotional patterns and things that you do, you get the death card, you're like, yes, at last, that's the end of that one, it's gone, you know. It's also rebirth, you know, it's about the new coming in, it's the letting go of the old and the new coming in. Sometimes it's come up in readings as a fear of death, you know, where somebody has, you know, that's what's going on for them at the time that they're becoming in touch with their own mortality and the fear of what happens after they die. So there is a lot of different meanings for the card, but it is very rare that it'll actually be actual death. My belief is that you're not ever given information that you can't really deal with and that you can't do something about, and to just hear that somebody is going to die is not actually doing you any favours. It's not going to help you, not in most of the cases anyway. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
When people first look at the Thoth deck, they are quite intimidated by it, or they feel a bit put off by the fact that some of the cards have quite difficult keywords. There's a card that's failure, there's a card that's oppression, there's a card that's ruin, and that's besides, you know, the death card if they are not aware of what death means. And I would say to anyone who's picked a Thoth deck up and thought, oh no, that just seems too harsh, you know, I can't do readings with that, I don't want to tell people that they're going to fail. Often these cards, they mean the fear of failure. And one of my beliefs is that we do create our reality, and one of the ways we do that is in using our emotional responses and what we expect of the world. So if you fear failure and you don't address it, you're very likely to actually set that failure up. You know, say you fear failing at an interview, well, you could be absolutely perfect for the job, you're really, you know, quite well qualified, you're exactly the right place, but if you're in your mind, if you just so think you can't possibly do it and it's too much for you, you could, for instance, miss the bus, and unconsciously you didn't leave the house at the right time, and so you missed the bus, so therefore you missed your interview, so therefore you didn't get the job. You've kind of set that failure up. So when a card like failure comes up, it's the fear of failure, and if you know that in advance, that you're actually very worried that's going to happen, it helps you to say, well, I'm worried about this. I can take another card and say, what happens when I let go of that fear? And then that will tell you much more clearly what the real situation is around. And you've acknowledged your own fear, and there may even be exercises associated that come out of that card to help you work with your fear. Let that go, and then you create this positive reality around you. So failure, ruin, if it's fear of ruin, defeat, it's fear of defeat. See them all as fears, I'd say. When you first start with a deck, see them as fears, and that will help you both read positively and empowering for people, but also for yourself, and help you overcome difficulties that are possible in your path, but not necessarily predestined.